please, can someone explain to me how a prisoner can decide upon their identity being a freaking baby? Hey up everyone, it's me, Stef, the nerdy alternative, and welcome to another dose of the Daily Nerd, where I break down the true crime story of the day that's pretty much caught me eye. And yes, you read the title correctly. There is a prisoner who has decided that they're going to be a baby, and that's what they're going to identify themselves with. Going as far as to literally wearing nappies, eating baby food, and a heck of a lot more. I'm going to break all this madness down for you in a moment. Before I do so, though, a little bit of housekeeping. Firstly, YouTube human reviewer, I see you lurking. I ain't going to be saying any trigger words or say anything that's going to basically offend your ear holes. And to everyone else awesome enough to have clicked on this video, hi, welcome. If you love true crime on the daily served with a little bit of sass and gobbiness, which is basically this, right? The next thing you need to do no matter what is smash the hell out of that subscribe button, like, share, comment, all of that good stuff. And let's jump into it, shall we? So I found this on the Mirror website, and this is, I still don't know what to make of it. I've read it through like 3 times and I'm still confused. Now, Sophie Eastwood, she was named Daniel at the time of her sentencing. She has since transitioned from male to female whilst in prison. Now, she has demanded that guards hold her hand whilst outside her cell because she now identifies herself as an infant, as a baby. Sophie Eastwood, aged 36, was named Daniel when she was jailed for life in 2004 after using shoelaces as a way to be able to unalive her cellmate by using the shoelaces around the throat situation. Now, Eastwood, who has lived as a woman in Her Majesty's prisons for the past 4 years, has been described as attention-seeking and manipulative by sources inside the jail. Now, okay, for them to say that, it's alluding to something, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. Either her identifying herself as an infant, as a baby, is true, above board, nothing behind it, right? Other than just her identifying herself as literally a baby now. Or it could be that she doesn't actually believe in her identity as a baby, but is using it for manipulative purposes. Which one is it? I've no freaking idea. Why would anyone want to Benjamin Button themselves? Why would anyone be like, do you know what? I'm an adult. I've got all this freedom. I can do X, Y, and Z as an adult. But you know what? I want to revert myself back to a baby when I was completely helpless, didn't have any freedom, couldn't choose a thing. Do you know what? Baby's life is the way for me. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't get it. I really, really don't. I really, really don't. So she's now told chiefs at Polmont prison in Brightons, Scotland, that she identifies herself as a baby, as a toddler, and should be allowed to wear diapers and have a meals parade like baby food. She's also demanded guards hold her hand when she's escorted to and from her cell. Now, I can only imagine when she's escorted to and from her cell, she's going to be handcuffed, right? Either in front or behind like this. So how the hell, when her hands are like this, are the prison guards supposed to be able to get their hand kind of in this kind of enclavement kind of situation, this area here, and hold her hands like, that's gotta be awkward. Like, what? And this is going even more. What is it? Prison bosses are taking Eastwood's request seriously, which I can appreciate, okay, but they've supplied her with a dummy, sources tell the Daily Record. Now, this is the thing, right? You've got this person, this lady, in prison, and she's identifying herself as a toddler, right? Yeah, or baby. She's wearing nappies. She's literally like eating baby food, right? Everything's mushed up for her, right? She's got a freaking dummy. She's in prison. I can only imagine, right, the prison population that she is living with at the moment, looking at her and potentially thinking a certain way. Do you know where I'm coming from there? Like, I kind of imagine the prison population, right, to be hard as nails, you know, don't take any BS, like, proper, like, hard, stone-walled people, right? And you've got this person who has transitioned, fair enough, from male to female, fine, but is now identifying themselves as a toddler, wearing nappies, eating baby food, wearing a dummy. I can only imagine that the prison population that she's living with ain't looking towards her too kindly or too fondly. Do you know what I mean? To me, this is a very, very bizarre situation. Bizarre. Now, a source said that the prisoner has been difficult and manipulative over the years, which is why she's still behind bars after 17 years, which again goes back to my earlier comment. Is she identifying herself as a toddler because she believes in that identification for herself, which is fair enough, okay? Or is she doing it for manipulative reasons where she doesn't actually believe in her identity as a toddler, but she's doing it to be manipulative for some reason? You see where I'm coming from there, right? So she decided that she would transition from a man to a woman, which is becoming more common in jail these days, which is fair enough. Absolutely fine. But this is obviously something else entirely, and the Scottish Prison Service has no protocol in place for dealing with prisoners who decide they are babies, which, you know, is fair enough. You know, you wake up one day, you go into work, you're a prison officer, and you all of a sudden speak to a prisoner, and they're turning around and saying, do you know what, I want you to treat me like a baby. Quite literally, like a toddler. I want nappies, I want baby food, I want a dummy. Like, what are you supposed to do with that information? How are you supposed to process it? What the hell are you supposed to do with that? Like, in this kind of instance, right, I don't blame the prison service for not having a protocol in place for dealing with someone that literally turns around one day and says, right, I want you to identify me as a toddler, as a baby, and I want you to treat me as a toddler stroke baby. Do you know what? In this instance, them turning around and saying that there was no protocol in place for dealing with prisoners who decide they're babies, I'm not going to actually crucify him for that. Or, you know, say anything bad about that, because I'm not surprised they didn't have a protocol, you know? Now, the source added, Eastwood is a complex person and intelligent, but she's pretty demanding on the resources of the prisoner and enjoys being the centre of attention. Which, let's keep it 100 here. When you're a baby, when you're a toddler, you can't be nothing but the centre of attention, right? Because babies, toddlers, they are helpless, right? They're not fully grown up. They can't make decisions. So they always have to be looked after to ensure that they're growing up safely, correctly, all that jazz, right? So, yeah, being a toddler and a baby definitely will put you as a centre of attention. Yeah. But the source also says it's difficult to know if she really does feel a natural inclination to be treated like a baby or if it's just some kind of attention seeking. Exactly what I've been saying all along. Is it that she really feels true to the identity of being a baby? Or is this a manipulative kind of weapon that she's trying to use, or kind of attention seeking, that kind of thing, where she don't really believe it, but it's a manipulative attention seeking kind of move? Modern prisons are very tuned into human rights. Absolutely. Can't fault them for that. And the legal implications they throw up. So it's being given proper consideration. Now, she is in prison after serving a life sentence for unaliving Algie, aged 22, back in 2004. Formerly Daniel Eastwood, she's been living as a woman in jail for 4 years and completed her 15-year minimum term in 2019. But she has remained in secure conditions and is not due for release. The source added, this prisoner has already served the entire punishment term of the tariff, but she's not being advanced through the prison estate to a place where she can prepare for release. There's no current intention to put her in any open prison regime. This is nothing to do with gender issues. They're very, very at pains to point that out. It's nothing to do with gender issues. She just refuses to play by the rules or show any inclination or readiness to live in normal society. Well, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, I'm sorry. But if she's all of a sudden deciding after all these years that she's going to identify herself as a baby, live as a baby, nappies, dummy, baby food, everything, then, yeah, I mean, in terms of, you know, questioning her mental state, I mean, I'm not a doctor, don't get me wrong, right? I'm far from it. But, you know, you got to question a mental state for her to be identifying herself quite literally as a baby. Is her mental state in a position where actually she is ready to be put outside into society and released from jail? See where I'm coming from? Speaking to the Daily Record from Polmont Prison earlier this year, Eastwood claimed she would have been freed by now if she had remained a man. I don't believe that. I think she's wrong. I think she's absolutely wrong there. Wrong. She said, in January 2020, I met all the standard criteria to pass to less secure conditions, except being biologically female. The prison service wanted me to have a psychological assessment, as I hadn't had one since starting to live as a female. After that, I was told by a manager that I would have passed the assessment. I would have passed the assessment had I still been living as a man. Now, I'm calling Bumkiss on that one. That is rubbish. That is absolutely rubbish. I think that is an example, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, of her manipulative nature coming out there. Using her identity to blame the prison service for something that actually is on her. I felt this was ist and phobic. The SPS was implying that as a man, I didn't represent a risk to the public, but as a woman, I did. I don't think there's any evidence to support that. Well, do you know what? I don't think there's any evidence to support your claims against them. To say that, do you know what? They said I would have passed everything if I still stayed a man. Because I changed as a woman, they're keeping me in. Like, that don't make sense. That does not make sense. There is something else out of that assessment that came up regardless of her gender freaking identity. Nothing to do with that. That came up and was like, nah, we can't release her. There's something else. Eastwood's case revealed a troubled life that escalated out of control. Beforehand, living as a boy as Daniel, she was jailed in 2004 for dangerous driving. A month before the date for release from Dumfries Young Offenders Institution, she then unalived poor Algie, aged 22, with considerable and prolonged force. So, yeah, you've got prisoner who unalived someone who, during the course of her sentence, has transitioned from male to female. Fine. Now identifies herself as a baby, as nappies in prison, a dummy, eating baby food, all that lot. The prison service, they are accommodating her, this, that, and the other. However, the bigger picture, she's manipulative, she's controlling, she's being a difficult prisoner to deal with. She was up for release. They did a psychological assessment on her. Something came up there where they turned around and said, no, she shouldn't be released. There's something there. She's trying to paint the picture as, do you know what? They turned around and said that if I still stayed a man, I would have been released by now. But because of my transition into a woman, they won't release me. No. I'm calling rubbish on that one. Again, that is insane. That is nuts. That is crazy. That doesn't even make freaking sense. Because she transitioned, that's why they won't release her. That's basically what she's saying, right? Don't make sense, does it? No. So there must have been something else that came up out of that assessment that they then turned around and said, no, she can't be released. What it is, who knows? But she is still behind bars for a reason. Let's put it that way. But oh my goodness, what an insane story. Basically, a prisoner wants to Benjamin Button themselves. Why would you want to do that? Guys, my head's still all over the place on this one. So what do you guys think? Sound off with your gobs in the comments down below. And if you loved this and love true crime on the daily served with a little bit of sass and gobbiness, which is basically this, right? The next thing you need to do, no matter what, is smash the hell out of that subscribe button. Like, share, comment, all of that good stuff. And until the next time, you guys, laters.